Shalom ubracha, peace and blessings. This week's Torah reading is titled Vayishlach. It draws its name from the very beginning of the Torah reading. Vayishlach Yaakov Malochim Lefanov. And Yaakov sent messengers in front of him to spy out what Esav was doing. We're going to focus on a piece of the narrative that deals with Yaakov's reaction to the information that these scouts, that these messengers bring back. Yaakov is told that Esav is proceeding ahead with 400 armed men. Yaakov doesn't know if these armed men, this army, is to protect Esav from those who might attack him on the way, or if he's actually preparing for war with Yaakov. Realize that Yaakov and Esav have been apart for more than 20 years, and the last time Yaakov encountered Esav, Esav swore to kill him. So Yaakov takes a three-prong approach. Yaakov prepares for war with his brother, and at the same time, he prays to God, and he separates his camp into two, that if one might be attacked, the other might be saved. And we're going to look at the text because there are some very interesting pieces that need to be examined here. We read, Vayakam balayla hahu, and he got up in the middle of the night, in that night. Vayikach eshtei noshav, and he took his two wives, veshtei shivchosav, and his two maids, ve'es achar oso yiladav, and his 11 children, vayavar ma'avar Yabok, and they crossed the river called Yabok. Vayikachem ve'avirem as Hagamal, and they took and they crossed the river. Vayavor es kol asher lo, and he took everything that belonged to him. Now, it's important to focus on those words, everything that belonged to him, because Rashi, in explaining the very next verse, says something that seems, at least on the surface, to contradict that statement. Vayivoser Yaakov levado, and Yaakov was left alone. Vayabek ish imo, and a man wrestled with him, adalos hashachar, until the morning light. So Rashi tries to address two questions. In the previous verse, we read that he took his family across the river, and he took everything that he had with him. So it appears that they were together. And Rashi explains the fact that the very next verse says, Vayivasa Yaakov levado, and Yaakov was alone. Shachach pachim ketanim, he forgot small containers, v'chozer alehem, and he returned for them. The second piece of this verse that is quite difficult is we read, Vaya'abek ish imo, and a man fought with him, but it doesn't identify who the man is. So Rashi tells us, Pirush Rabbeinu Zichrono Livracha, our rabbis of blessed memory explained, Shahu Saro Shel Esav, that this was the guardian angel of Esav. So Yaakov was struggling with the guardian angel of Esav, and that's who this Ish, this unknown man, was. A simple read of the text tells us something very different. After this struggle with the angel, Yaakov names or renames the place. Vayikra Yaakov Shem Hamakom Peniel, and Yaakov named the place Peniel, Ki Ra'isi Elohim, because I have seen God, Panim El Panim, face to face, V'tinotzel Nafshi, and God saved my life. This concept of the unknown stranger actually being God is supported by an earlier statement in the text. In the earlier statement in the text, this unknown stranger asks Yaakov what his name is. Vayomer Elav Ma Shimcha, and he said to this unknown stranger, said to Yaakov, what is your name? Vayomer Yaakov, and he said, my name is Yaakov. Vayomer, and the stranger said, Lo Yaakov Ye'amar Od, you should no longer say that your name is Yaakov. Ki im Yisrael, it shall be Yisrael. Ki sarisa im Elohim v'im anoshim v'tucha, because you have prevailed, you have struggled with God, and you have struggled with people, and you prevailed. Rav Aaron Soloveitchik offered an explanation to the identity of this unknown stranger as follows. Perhaps one can argue that Yaakov Avinu was actually struggling with himself. And when it says, because you struggled with God and humanity and you prevailed, that the humanity that he was talking about is the struggle, the inner struggle that Yaakov Avinu was going through. The inner struggle that Jacob was going through. We can certainly understand this is a man who ran away from his home, settled down with the person that was ultimately to become his father-in-law, ran away from there in fright, and is now reconciling with his brother, not knowing what to expect. It would leave him struggling with his own inner demons, trying to figure out how to proceed. I believe that Rav Aaron's answer offers us insight into the earlier verse where it says that Vayivaser Yaakov levado, Yaakov was alone, even though it had told us in the immediately prior verse that he was together with his wife and family. Another explanation, which is different than that which is offered from Rashi, is that even though Yaakov was surrounded by his family and all of his possessions, Yaakov was alone. And we can all relate to that. We can all relate to a time in our life that even though we were surrounded by a sea of people, we felt alone. We felt isolated. We felt that there was no one that we can relate to. There are times in our life where darkness sets in and we are depressed. We feel that life has dealt us a difficult hand. And even though we are surrounded by people, we feel alone. And in fact, we know that there are those who care about us, but we can't see it at that moment. We can't realize that there are those that carry us in their hearts, in their thoughts, and in their prayers. The holiday season can be a difficult time for those who battle depression, for those who could be surrounded by friends and family and feel isolated and alone. This is a time of year when it's important for us to remember people who are struggling with themselves, struggling, feeling that they are Yaakov, Vayivaser Yaakov levado, and Yaakov remained by himself, is a phenomenon that someone who suffers from depression struggles with all the time. There is no magic formula for helping someone with depression, but it is important to reach out to them, especially during the holiday season, and let them know that they're loved, that they're cared about, and they are not judged. I want to take this opportunity to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. May it be the beginning of a beautiful holiday season as we look forward to ushering in the light of Hanukkah. Shabbat Shalom.